Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So we're going to start off by priming the lid with MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre, and I'll be placing this with my finger all over my lid just to help the consistency of the primer kind of melt in. And with that being said, I am going to set my lid using a Morphe brush E20 and some translucent powder. You could use a white type of powder to kind of cancel out the discoloration of your lid more, but I find that the primer already has enough coverage, so I just go ahead and use some translucent powder. So we will be using the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette in the color Fran, which is a yellow color, with an Angel Merino X Morphe AC57 brush, and just in windshield wiper motion we will be spreading this across the crease. And as you could see, I am going back into the same color. I'm starting off by the least I can and building up that color, only because since it's a very bright color, I want to make sure that it's completely well blended out. And this is a very fluffy brush, so whatever I am applying will be going on the crease and directly a little bit above the crease. So it's kind of making sure I kind of get that gradient effect once I add the actual crease color. So for the crease, we will be going into Makeup Forever Shadow in M664 and the Morphe X Angel Merino brush in AC59, which is a perfect crease brush. It has enough bristles to blend that color out seamlessly, and it's not harsh. It's very soft on the eye, because there is some brushes that are like so dense that they literally scrape off your lid. So literally just in windshield wiper motions, just going back and forth with that color until you get the pigmentation that you want. And obviously for me, it's easier to look down and kind of carve in that crease. And the next color we'll be taking is the color XON, I can't really pronounce it, from the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette. This palette is so ideal. It has so many colors. So with a Sigma Blending E25 brush, we're just making sure we smoke out the outer edge with obviously that XON color from the Kat Von D palette. And in circular motions, that's all I will be doing, is just going back in and adding more color until I get obviously the pigmentation that I want, since it is a dark color. Even more so since it is a dark color, make sure you do start off with a bit and then just keep on adding, because since it is a dark color, once more, it is easy to go heavy-handed on it and it coming out just kind of choppy. So grabbing the Lime Crime SuperFoil shadow, we will be going into the color Firefly with a Morphe E28 brush, and we will just be grabbing a bit of this color and placing it right next to that XON color that we had just placed down. We want to kind of have it, it's going to be more of a gradient look in between those, and then we're going to add a color in front of Firefly to kind of fade in towards Firefly. You will see right now. And obviously you'll see also as well that the brush wasn't working to my liking, so obviously I went back in to using my finger, because I feel you get the best coverage or the color pigment right off of the finger straight onto the lid. Instead of using the brush, which kind of takes away some of the gradient color that it has. So as you can see, the next color will also be from a Lime Crime SuperFoil shadow, and it's called Endpoint or Endpointy, whatever you want to call it. It's a nice pink color, very girly. It does have some specks of silver, but nothing that will overpower the pink. But once you actually see it in person, it is such a beautiful pink, as well as the green Firefly color. It's like a very kind of like a green brown kind of color. I feel like the camera does no justice for either or color. And obviously, as you guys could see, I'm also going back in with the dark color and kind of just retouching that up, making sure that I have the color that I want. The next thing, obviously the star of the show, is going to be the liner. So we are using a MAC brush 263. It's a very thin liner brush, perfect for liner. And we are using obviously Inglot liner, which is the blackest black you will find. And we would just be tracing, basically making the trace of the eyeliner. So we could go ahead and put the star of the show, which will be the yellow, another Inglot liner, in the middle of that outline that we did with the black Inglot liner. So as you could already see, I'm being very precise with the way that I am placing this liner, only because I need to make sure I leave enough of a space to have for that yellow liner that we will basically just fill in. So just do the outline and then have that, I guess you could say, the empty space to fill in. And now for the star of the show, which will be the yellow Inglot liner number 84 and a Morphe AC63 brush. First, what I will be doing with this precise liner brush is cleaning out, basically carving out that space where I will be placing the yellow liner, only because I have some bit of that shadow residue and I don't want that to get mixed in with the color. I want the best pigmentation off of the liner as possible. So I'm kind of just going in with makeup remover and cleaning that empty space that we have going on right there, just to make sure it's even more precise and we get, like I said, the best color payoff. Because if we place it on top of the shadow, the yellow will not come out as vibrant as it would if it didn't have nothing under it. So since we now cleaned it out, we are making sure we get 100% the actual correct color of the liner, so it could come across once it's all done. So now that we are done with the eyes, we are going straight into the face with the Kat Von D Lock-It Tattoo Hydrating Primer. So this primer basically goes a long way. One pump is more than enough for your face. It really does hydrate the face, and it also has a lot to do with the foundation that you will be using. I am using the Bobbi Brown foundation stick, and this foundation stick is, I would say, minimal to full coverage depending on how much you layer it over. It is a bit drying once you apply, so it works perfectly fine with the Kat Von D Hydrating Primer. And I will be blending it out first with the Morphe brush M439. And obviously this is a big fluffy kabuki brush, and it is going to be a bit more rough on the skin comparing the Beauty Blender obviously to this brush. But it does a well job specifically for this type of foundation. I feel like since it is a bit harder to blend out, which is why I used the kabuki brush instead of my Beauty Blender, which is normally what I always use. So obviously I went in first with the kabuki brush, and then I went afterwards with the Beauty Blender. For concealer, I will be going in with an Urban Decay Naked Skin Medium Light Neutral Concealer. And let's just say, at the moment, this is my ideal concealer. I am completely in love with it. Starting off from the pigmentation of it, the way it blends, the way it doesn't easily crease under my eye, which is a very big problem for me. It is just perfect for me in all types of way at the moment. And obviously using my all-time fave Beauty Blender to blend this concealer all out. And you guys, please excuse my ratchet ass mirror that I am using. It was actually the mirror of the Kat Von D contour palette, but it actually came off, and I just decided to use it as my hand mirror, which clearly looks hella ratchet. Never again. And obviously still blending it out. To get towards the nose bridge, I actually pinch it so it could actually fit perfectly and not kind of spread all over the place. And with that same damp Beauty Blender, I will be going in with my Laura Mercier translucent powder to set my under eye, obviously first, because as you all know, I am a creasy mess. So I make sure I set my under eye first, and then obviously I go in. So today I did want to do a bit more coverage, and I am going in with my E7 by Morphe and my Lancome powder. And all I'm doing is just getting some from the pan and going straight onto my face and patting it in towards the face to make sure that foundation doesn't go anywhere. I don't want it running away from my skin. I want it to stay right where it's at. So I'm just pressing it into the face also to give me a bit more coverage. And obviously time to bronze using Dose of Colors brush. It's a powder blush brush, and my Benefit Hoola bronzer, which actually I just purchased and I'm actually really loving. It's not overly orange or overly brown, so it's basically that perfect bronze shade. Making sure I also bronze the cheekbones a bit after bronzing the forehead, and I will also be going a bit under the jawline just to kind of, you know, hide that little double chin we got going on there. And for our nose job, we will be using a Dose of Colors blending brush and some of that Hoola bronzer by Benefit. And starting off on the sides of the nose, kind of narrowing down our nose and just blending that out. So afterwards, I actually did want to go with a more precision brush, so I went in with my Smith 256 brush to kind of define that contour out a bit more. And obviously I will be going back into that blending brush and obviously blending out these harsh edges. But with that same Smith brush, I will be placing some translucent powder down the bridge of my nose to kind of clean that up a bit. And for contouring next, I will be going in with my Makeup Forever sculpting kit in shade 2, using the darker shade obviously, with a Smith Cosmetics brush 112. And obviously I will be grabbing a bit of that color and just keeping it halfway into that cheekbone, the hollow of the cheekbone, to kind of just define that out. I don't want to bring it all the way down. I just want to keep it halfway where it is exactly where I want to define and reshape the hollows of my cheekbones, or at least what will appear to be cheekbones. And going back into that powder blush brush from Dose of Colors and making sure I blend it all out, making sure there's no harsh edges. And going in with a Sigma tapered brush, I will be placing some translucent powder under that contour just to define that out, you know, chisel it out a bit. And with a MAC brush 239 SE, I will be grabbing that Makeup Forever color that we used on the crease to place it on the lower lash line and blend that out. And grabbing a Morphe brush AC62, a very flat definer brush, and the color XON by the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette, and placing it directly under the lower lash line, making sure it's a very defined line and only bringing it halfway into the eye. I don't want to make it a full smoked eye. Using the NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk, I will be placing this in the waterline and making sure my eyes stand out more. Like I said, I didn't want to make the lower lash line a smoked out lash line. I just kind of want to give it a bit of definition. And obviously I cleaned up the rest of the translucent powder and going in with a Morphe X Merino AC55 brush, and obviously my fave, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit in Sun Dipped. I will be placing this obviously on the highest points of my cheekbones and just glowing for the gods. Yes, you better work. For my blush, I will be going into MAC Peaches and a Bedazzled Tools 942 brush. Obviously, the lip color will be ColourPop Chai and Anastasia Beverly Hills Pure Hollywood as a mixture. And that, ladies and gentlemen, completes the finale look. I hope you guys enjoy it, like and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.